your heroes as well, get rid of artillery as quickly as possible, or like use your musket bombs to disrupt formations as much as possible, especially with not being having flames there, not having Shenjis, and not having Falconets. There's a lot of Zakalian on the match as well. Is that 4 for the defender?
Yeah.
No, 5 for
a
the
lot
defenders.
Well, Zakalian is such a good unit to be used for,
as well.
for breaking down formations and stuff, isn't it? So it's very, very good for kind of stopping pushes. So it's very good use of them, and they could throw them over the wall as well if they're at certain areas of sea and stuff that could potentially get the arc set up perfectly to start whittling down the units before they go around their push. Love the Bush is a very drilled side though, so they'll be used to this kind of map and this kind of defensive side.
Yeah, yeah. The attackers were bringing a lot of halberdier sergeants as well, and they had at least one unit of Hashashins as well. So I wonder if they're going to try doing some like tunnel nonsense with those.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the phase we run about as well.
So yeah, it's a slower phase.
You'll see Love and Devotion pulling back now. They'll have a few. Looks like they've got a couple of heroes jumping up onto some of the artillery. Otherwise, everything's been pulled back. All the units are being pulled back to the furthest supply point.
It will be like there's no point in wasting, like not using the artillery that's already pre-built. It also slows the attacker side down just a little bit, just to make it look like, make them think whether they have got units or if they are set up A or B. Most of the time people know they are not, but it's always a good deterrent just now to start with. Yeah. People will do that and use that to their advantage. Obviously the use of the the bombards at the end there, they take that wall down relatively quickly, the breach, so after that's done, there's no really any use to have the bombards because they can't do anything elsewhere further up into the map.
Press the C tab as well and look at the unit differences that the teams have brought. As you can see, the defending team have got more tier 5-star units. Obviously, that must be a UI glitch. That'll be 680 probably to 720. So 4-star units is pretty much identical. The 3-stars, the attacking team must have more Zakalian. They might have a cheeky Alchemist in there as well, but it's probably going to be Zakalian. They might have maybe 6 or 7 of those then. And yeah, while tier 1 doesn't really make a difference because they'll get ruined, but it'll be interesting to see how that works out for both teams. And they've got into the town. So as you can see, you see little Sons of Fenrir on the side here. Like to the east of C.
Waiting around as a C,
behind the eastern supply.
Once you get in the gateway here though, it's A and B relatively quickly, and then it's just a setup phase from this point in time, unless Love and Devotion decide to do something relatively different than normal. But as the norm goes, the muskets will stay there, whittle down units, heroes, stop them from pushing up the wall straight away. Everybody's
going a little bit of a team deathmatch. Oh no, they've sallied out. Look, they're going to try
interesting on Love and Devotion, but a Treb does get set up straight away as soon as the push comes in. It does hit a couple of halberdiers in the back there, but not enough to deal some damage.
I think they got away with that. There's so many units there, they might be able to kill some of the heroes here.
Move back into that Treb as well slightly, but not too much. Top of the stairs is not going to be a good position for them to defend. Or Love and Devotion, I don't know if they're trying something different just to bait out as many Trebs as possible, maybe.
Maybe bait out Trebs and maybe force them to place artillery, because the attackers still have placed no artillery. The defenders have already placed 6. If you go east of the supply, the attackers have captured
in the back.
Yeah, the Nami's placed a mortar there. He's also got his halberdier sergeants with him, and it looks like Fade's got Sons of Fenrir there as well, just in case. I can't see the rest of the defending mortars though.
Yeah, there's quite a good defending mortar.
Built another mortar.
Alejandro's built one, yeah, just above supply to rain down on supply point area. It's quite a
on C as well. Rinker on the wall around C's built another mortar.
Yeah, there's one inside as well, I think. In there. No, there's.
And just straight north of that supply as well, or like slightly northeast, you've got Uncooked Banana on top of the tower. And he's got his Zakalian in the tower as well. So as soon as a push comes, he can just come out of that tower and get them to throw almost to the top of the staircase, I believe, with the extra elevation from the height. The attackers
that was perfect. They were back and forward, and another Treb was missed as well. So they're definitely baiting Trebs out enough for them to use them. There's only been a couple of them now, but they are trying to make sure they use them. Not sure that Love and Devotion want to waste too much artillery on the outside of the map though, like outside of the main point.
Nah.
Anymore. I think what they've got is probably
ZOO's not doing anything at the moment. They've only placed 2 artillery.
They've got a couple of heroes on the supply point currently, just now building ones. They're Rocky and Baldwin, I think it is, has built a couple of mortars.
Yeah, they have.
And
Yeah,
they're sending
like
them up from
mixing
the
within the units. So now they're
Yeah,
going to
so
start. Now
there's-
they've placed 5 mortars.
But yeah,
But this
there's
is
like
perfect.
2 down on the bottom at A, and then 2 at the supply point there, constantly just going to rain down. If you all fire them in unison as well and all target the same point, that'll be a ton of damage on a set unit that you can probably
I think
wipe.
we're going to see Love and Devotion maybe pulling back from this now, though. Or do you reckon they'll take one more fight and then go?
Oh, there's a
It might take one
pre-treb,
more
but that
fight.
treb's a bit AWOL. I think
Bit
somebody
too
might have got
early,
hit
yeah.
by something else and stopped them from targeting it where they wanted it. I would have actually hit their
slipped up
own
a step
units
for
if they
me.
didn't move there, but... So they've kind of
Love and
clustered down here at the
Devotion
supply
might
point.
be an idea if they just pulled back from this already, though, because they've made the attackers waste a lot of artillery already.
Yeah, they've used quite a bit. Still kind of using that
That's-
treb now, trying to bait more people into Shield Maidens are moving away from it as the push comes up from ZOO. They'll probably be able to wipe the units that are there already from Love and Devotion, because it's not as much as units coming through as ZOO push up the stairwell.
Multiple
Still
Zakalian
every
throws coming in
hero
from Love and
alive, though,
Devotion. Now they've got at
point,
least 3 sets of Zakalian thrown on top of that.
Yeah, they're on top of that wall, just above.
Treb could be pretty good, though.
Oh
yeah, that
how
was
with
a
your
good treb.
sergeants in the back there, definitely a decent treb. Sometimes you think it should do a lot more, but heroes are dying, and it does look like the win of the fight does go to Love and Devotion's units have all kind of whittled down at that point. And
There were some Daggerax Lancers from ZOO have managed to just push through as well. They've obviously got a short distance to go to the resupply, so they've just swapped out a lot of units quickly. ZOO have,
was
and they're
that a
actually putting
back
pressure on
card
top of the
charge from
stairs
Love and
now.
Devotion? Was that a back charge from Love and Devotion that went into the point there, or was that because they were? Yeah, it was. That was Salamander's unit coming up the back from the supply point, like from behind them, and it carved up from behind them with Daggerax Lancers. That was quite a nice move there from Salamander.
This is going to be interesting to see if Love and Devotion actually try and hold C, or are they going to pull back
They
behind?
are holding behind C. It looks like they are moving all their units out towards the archway and the breach now, and then ZOO will reset up here before they start pushing. It did look like they were about to go into breach and then realised that Love and Devotion had kind of set back up and moved themselves forward. So they're going to get a free take on C. And
Looks like hero defs is roughly similar as well. I think Love and Devotion have got more guys on their first def looking at it, or they're like it's what's classed as the third one. So the top one's like the first time you die, but the attackers have got more guys that have already died twice. Interesting. So they've given up C.
Nine players have already died twice.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to watch that. Oh, that's how many lives they've got left. 2 lives left, isn't it? Yeah.
Attackers have still got 8 trebs as well. They've still got 24 artillery, which is going to be brutal to deal with. And the defenders are on 7. Unit-wise as well, we've got, what, 1,000 to 950. So that's not that much of a problem. A difference. It's only 100.
Yeah.
The problem that Love and Devotion are going to have now, this is the same with everyone defending this match. There's 13.5 minutes, and the attackers have got 20 artillery. And if I was the attacking team, I would use every round to do as much damage as possible and get one decisive push-off.
Thing is, I think when you're doing these kind of artillery phases, yeah, they're great. But if you've only got one mortar hitting like a purple tier unit, is it only blue mortar? So the damage isn't enough.
It's only blue artillery.
To worry about it. So like, you need all mortars targeting the same spot, and then just pile in all 4 shots around about the same time at the same area. And then if you can get that off, that's a ton of damage. You'll probably actually wipe some units rather than just damage some units. And I think that's probably where they need to go when it comes to the mortars, unless they're trying to focus people moving and they're trying to just make sure the unit moves and then time it so that they can push in as they move. But that is also a little bit more time needed and prep for players to be in position ready for that maneuver. And very well communicated to like everybody in the team. So far, it's just going to be the same. You've got the units up top there, the javelins trying to deal some damage as well off of the wall there as a treb comes onto the supply point in the back there. Only a hero at the back there, so it's not really going to whittle down any units in the back. They have got the musket bombs and the musket players, even a longbow from Rumo there, trying to deal some damage to units and heroes in the back.
I think both teams have got. I
supply
think they had
point.
both
Quite nice if it
four
stays
muskets and a longbow each, just to do plink damage the whole time. Oh, that
That
was
was
a
a
good job on the
nice
back
trap.
supply.
Yeah, that was a nice trap on the back supply there. They held them there long enough to get a few damages. But yeah,
They've already got another 40, 50 unit kills since they've placed their artillery. They've used half of their complement.
It's like Love and Devotion, maybe setting back up a little bit further back. A lot of the players are going into Reggie building, into the main castle area. There's a couple of heroes back there anyway, at least, but maybe that's just because they've got Cav and they don't want to be used there. Like,
I think it's just Cav to get it out the line of fire.
yeah.
Cav can obviously rotate really quickly and then get into position a lot faster than they need to be.
But the defenders have 5 pieces of artillery left. There was one just built as well there from them on the stairwell, as you can see, to try and counter the ZOO's artillery. But at this point, I don't think they've got enough artillery to counter all of the artillery in the attacking side, because it's so far spread around that you'd have to have different people aiming on it and different mortars getting set up. On the right,
and they're only being 3 deaths. They can't afford to do like a hero rush just to get rid of some artillery as well. So kind of force them to just sit there and take it.
Another mortar set up on the far right.
Sergeants as well. Ooh, that was a good javelin sergeant throw with some black powder bombs as well, like right above the archway coming from C towards the supply.
Yeah, they javelins and then musket bombs are definitely dealing a good chunk of damage to units. And they're all having to go back to supply point constantly here from. So ZOO are definitely going to be frustrating a lot of the Love and Devotion players with their units and having to make that walk back every time. I'm actually surprised that if you look at the back gate there is only Murmillones really that's on the gateway and the archway. There's no units elsewhere that can rotate, and ZOO are so much closer to the gate than the defensive side that you might be able to make that maneuver, or at least fake that maneuver, so that everybody moved into that position, so you can get open up a space to go.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
surprised
what
they haven't made
they're
that.
hoping for is that they're pushing basically Love and Devotion back further and further away from where they need to be defending, and they're hoping when they do go for a push, it'll be so quick that Love and Devotion can't react quick enough and rotate to where they need to be to try and counter it.
Yeah. The javelins are throwing some damage down as well on that wall constantly at the ISGs that are just to the right hand side.
going up the tower as well on the left screen now in the background. They just jumped straight off the tower though.
Yeah, Hyper scared him right off. He was like, "Nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not a fighter."
Yeah, as soon as he gets locked down though by the chain, he's basically dead in here. So he was like, "Nah,
yeah.
I'm out."
No point fighting that. But yeah, still 10 pieces of artillery on the attacker side ready to go. You've got plenty of hero lives and stuff and units left still for these pushes, but obviously time is in Love and Devotion's favour here. As more and more time goes by, the better it becomes.
Almost helping the attack as well though, because since this artillery phase started, what's it been, maybe 4 minutes? They've killed 200 units so far, and they've lost basically nothing in return. So they are whittling massively.
150 unit difference so far. Almost 200 now actually after that one now.
I think it's literally bang on 200 now. Yeah, 1049 to 849. So that's the mad thing with this map. There's so much time.
Yeah, a lot more time than things like Healing Forward, where you have like 7 minutes to take a point. This is like 17 minutes to take an area, because you get all them 3 points at the start. With the
and javelin sergeants are doing work as well.
But it's very interesting that there hasn't been like even a small infantry push to try and bait somewhere to see if they maneuver the Love and Devotion side as well. So when they're hitting these artillery phases, they're doing a fantastic job. They're dealing some damage. They're obviously giving themselves a better advantage in terms of the units they have to face as time goes on. But even if they went into breach, or even if they went into gateway a wee bit to make more units move that way and then fire the mortars, there's more units to take more damage. You know, it's literally.
I think they'll start pushing soon though. They've stopped building artillery. I've just zoomed in on the artillery they do have up, and basically all the ammo is gone. So I wouldn't be surprised now if we see ZOO getting the units out that they want for the push, gathering where they want to be, and then either feint in one direction and then go in the other, or just literally going straight.
Can we have the camera around at the ZOO side, on the red side, for a second, so we can see just behind that wall? We see all these units, so that the chat can see that. I'm pretty sure we've got a good cluster of units around here, ready to make a move. ISGs, there's a couple of Murmillones in there. You've got IPGs as well, and even a unit Silidars, which will deal a ton of damage to heroes. Not
Yeah,
to
here they go.
mention
The
to
heroes
right
have moved in as well. So it's like if you like pick up their
taking
units.
that move to the right. That guys are going to the breach. The ones on the right there. There's two clusters now. You've got the guys just there on the point, and if you look to your right a second, if you follow the units that are moving now, that's
the units
going to
rotate to the right
breach.
now.
Yeah, they're all going to that breach. Look at like they're all moving, trying to bait and switch is what we all have to call it. A lot of bait and switch. See where they're going to go. But they've definitely split themselves into two clusters, where it looks like they've got two attacking sides. So the Love and Devotion will have to make a decision whether
they go
they
through the
split
archway,
or whether they defend one way.
They're going to do full push archway, or are they going to?
I don't know. I think the
they're going to
ISGs
go
might
breach
block
now.
that off, and they'll go all breach. Yeah, it looks like ZOO are switching it around and going all the way to breach. Love and Devotion have guys in the back trying to set themselves down as they make their way through breach, and the main push is going to go breach here.
If we can swap onto the defender side shortly, and we'll be able to see the attack come from the defenders or the attackers through the breach. They're pushing through now. There we go.
The push coming in, and there'll be
and
a
now we'll
pinch
see
here
Love and
from
Devotion collapse. Yeah,
they're going to have to collapse both sides here. You've got the Murmulons and marched away though. Then ISG marched, knocking off the Iron Reapers that were there on defense, along with the Halberdier. That's a very good pushing from ZOO. But here comes.
Done really well there.
Is that Dagger Axe Lancers that are firing in there, or was that?
I think that was Zakalian, and there's Javelin Sergeants from the attackers on the back wall where the breach is. And on the plateau above, towards the base, is where the Love and Devotion Zakalians
I think
are.
ZOO looks to be winning this fight here, though. They are definitely pushing Love and Devotion back here and making good moves forward with the ISG push and the Halberdiers. We've got a unit of Murmulons still there as well, and they are set, ready to go towards that supply point. They can get a couple of
heroes on the supply as well, stopping reinforcements coming in. So Love and Devotion look like they've decided to pull back to base.
Everyone in
Love and Devotion are trying to get as much back to base as possible now, so they don't lose too much down here. But they're already at a 300 odd unit disadvantage.
If the guys from ZOO are quick enough, they can try and pick off these heroes before they get back. That's another life gone. There's one down. It looks like Tetchy's going to die here in this little fight here. The spear, he falls to his death here as well.
Andraban might just get away from him. He gets a little bit of support from his allies.
He's got stopped by a musket with longsword. Everybody's going. Look how many heroes fall off. The scimitars are all gone, and Andraban.
There was some Liaos coming in, but there's some enemy Dagger Max Lancers coming through at the same time.
Quick push though. If you look up to the words, the gateway, they're all
that's
coming
very
in with
nicely done. Yeah.
Love and
Devotion coming back now, but they're a bit too slow.
Moving. Yeah, the spawn is a little bit of a far trek around the back there. And there's so much units of ZOO already onto the point. ISG is moving back in from Love and Devotion from under the wall, but ZOO have clustered it with so much
3 minutes
units.
50 now as well, so they might be able to do this. They just need to get enough units up on. That's a good treb though. That is going to stop a lot of the reinforcements from Love and Devotion.
Yeah, the reinforcements are coming exactly at that time when the treb just comes in here as well, and they've got a full setup on the home point here. If we can
like that ZOO have got shields as well, that's going to counteract the Chevalier's muskets.
Everything. ZOO's got a perfect setup here. They've got their ISGs, with behind that they've got the Halberdiers, and then they've got the damage dealing units ready to deal all the damage when the heroes start jumping in on the point. Short Sword of Vorts is trying to hold that point as long as possible, but he falls to his death. Ruga Kune, the other Short Sword on the point, but so far ZOO is half capped. And there comes
so many Dagger Axe Lancers out as well.
Yeah,
that was so nicely done.
ZOO's winning this one. If I look back, the back entrance.
Love and Devotion have lost like half their heroes in one push.
As you can see that back bay there, where Tetchy is just now, he's trying to bring in the Dagger Axe Lancers to slow down that push there, but it was pinched from both angles. And unit-wise, in the point, it looks like they've actually managed to win that point back a little bit.
Yeah, Modals came from behind, from Kretch I think that was, but I think they're about to get run over from behind. There's an IPG walk going into the Modals now as well.
So yeah, that looks like ZOO have got the counter back and definitely have the hero advantage on the point here. It's about 2 seconds away to be capped. And it's only a
short ball. The Pikes
just
got on. Spear might get on. Spear died. Ooh, they've got it.
There we go, it's it. ZOO.
That was really nice change of gears. As soon as they got the push going and they got the avalanche started, I was almost expecting them to slow down a little bit. I was kind of expecting them to slow down a little bit when they went onto the back supply point behind C, but they actually picked up speed. And then I didn't even see a lot of them change to cavalry, but all of a sudden there was just loads of cavalry there, and they just flew up those stairs.
I think
that was really impressive.
did it very well there. What do you think, Chibs, my lord? How did you think that
The
was?
the attack was really impressive from ZOO. The attack was really impressive from ZOO because they managed to have an excellent artillery phase where they put pressure on like different sides like the breach and like putting pressure on point C, and also when they had a good opportunity. Also, yeah, sorry. So once they had an opening, they managed to get through it, through the enemy defense until the base point. It was really impressive, really well mastered.
They just kept pushing, like they constantly kept up that pressure. It was really nice. Obviously, completely different pace from the previous matchup, also due to the forfeiting of the first 2 points. Interesting, very interesting. ZOO just kept cool, and once they started pushing, they really went to 100 with it and kept the pressure up. It was really nice. I wonder if we
really
I
well
wonder if
mastered.
we will see the same thing in the next match, or if we will actually see some defensive fighting on points A and B, maybe.
Yeah, well, I think and people are focused enough to just keep going. Sometimes it's there's that little stall between what you're told to do and what you actually end up doing. But then I think they when they got told what they were doing, they just followed it through as soon as it happened and just kept going with the flow, thinking, right, we've got the advantage here. We'll just keep the push going. We're not going to stop and reset up. And they just went straight for it. And I think Love and Devotion might take a few strategies from that idea and think about how they lost it in the defense to then use that to their advantage for their attack going forward.
Interestingly, Love and Devotion have no ranged heroes off the bat. Obviously, the people playing medium armor classes at the bottom can change to muskets and things, but it's interesting that they're not starting with any of it straight off the bat. Especially on this map, we saw how well ZOO just did with their 4 muskets and 1 longbow. So, I wonder if they're just doing that so that when they push tab for the first time, they'll just see melee units and forget about ranged. Or if they literally intend to play full melee, which would be
very interesting.
Yeah, not what you'd expect. You can see now already ZOO's
it's a lot of
back.
scimitars as well. There's like 3 scimitars on the attack from 11 Devotion. So like they can deal a lot of damage, but they have to be up there in the first place to try and get there. So obviously we're going to start off with this artillery phase where everybody's getting the belts artillery destroyed and breaking down the walls and breaches and whatnot, whatever needs to be done. For the most part, it would just be the main gate that's really worried about at this point. If you look obviously on the screen just now, you can already see ZOO with most of their units already at the back of C. You've got the halberdiers set up there, the Madow's making a move, some Silidars going towards that supply point there, while everything else is being pushed. Because there's not really much to defend at this point in time. They're definitely not defending A or B, that's for sure.
And they've just abandoned like the lower city already, so they've got everything up at least at the C point by now. I just checked as well. There's nothing from the defenders in the tunnels, like stashed away for a cheeky flank. No. And the attackers didn't send anything tunnels either, because it doesn't really make sense. Tunnels only really help for A and B. And as A and B normally gets gifted to you almost.
However, the little tunnel that goes through to the back onto the C can sometimes be used. It doesn't get used very often, but there is that little bit that goes into the little fort at the back. But I don't think any people expect it very much. But as you can see from that up view there, there's nobody defending C. They're not inside the fortress. They're not in there at all. It is all at the back of C. So you'll get an A, B, and C take relatively quickly.
Defenders might regret the fact that that breach is still at max health, because it'll mean that Love and Devotion, when they get onto the C point, can push east over the walls and then push straight up towards base point without running into the main block of the defenders until they get to the end of the balcony or the battlements. And then by that point, if they rotate quick enough, they can just block the majority of ZOO and then push straight up to the base point. And that would be like the bit of wall where we just saw the musket run along there. Like that breach is still full health.
Yeah.
So this can be interesting to see. Obviously, now the attackers will start placing their initial artillery. The defenders have only placed 2 so far. Can't see where they've placed the 2, but they've placed 2.
Yeah, I can't. for the life of me, there's a mortar going somewhere, but I don't know where it's. Where
Ah,
it
there's
is
a mortar
placed.
behind C towards the resupply right next to that statue in the water, like on the fountain. Where the second one is, I don't know. There's a third artillery piece now as well.
There's one getting built just now at the supply point, behind that statue. Yeah, so this is going to
There
be
we
another
go. They've got
artillery
one hidden
phase.
behind the stairs towards the C supply. If you like, zoom out a little bit with the camera,
Yeah, I
so
can
you're a little
see
bit
that.
higher. There, and then right at the bottom of the shot there. There's like right behind the bushes. There you go. So they've got like 3 or 4 artillery in that space. That's all trebable though, pretty much, apart from the one closest to the C point. So they're gonna have to look out for incoming trebs. They might be a little bit further away for mortars, or it might be a little bit difficult shot for the attacking team to get mortars on. But if they're up on the battlements, they should easily be able to place trebs onto that. And they've still got 15 trebs. They
You
haven't
can
trebbed
see that
once.
they've changed to muskets. So Love and Devotion guys, they got 4 muskets
Yeah.
on the wall now, so they did swap out to start dealing extra damage.
You know, I like what ZOO's done though. They've got like a trash pike unit. I think that's Village Watchman on the supply point behind C, just to bait out trebs. I think.
That's clever.
But apparently, Love and Devotion have seen it, and they're just like, "Nah, this will be fine. We'll just ignore that."
Like we know that unit skin. We know what that looks like. That's nothing important. The breach is almost down though, so we're seeing that slowly getting down as a treb comes in just to hit the artillery that's on top of that wall, just to the left.
They were unlucky with that though. Yeah. Oh, no, they got it on the last one.
Gets it on the last shot. A few mortars set up to trying to hit that breach down. It's about 2 shots away or so. And then they're also using the artillery well to counter the artillery that's up from ZOO in the defense there.
ZOO's used over half their artillery already, which is
Down to
interesting.
7
And Love and
already,
Devotion
yeah.
still got 24 left to go. So
And 14 trebs.
and 14 trebs. I'm
As a
surprised they're
treb
not
comes in
now
to
the
hit the
treb comes
artillery
in.
in the
Yeah.
background, yeah. That's going to hit that. There's actually a unit in that wall there as well. Where that treb's going right now, there is a
Modal,
unit in
yeah,
it as well, Modal.
Oh, they're like a
Don't
little bit
think-
further up the hill though. I don't think they
Yeah,
got
they're up
touched
the
though,
hill.
did
They didn't really get touched now, and that, to be honest, it kind of misses them. Just the noise that makes when you hear a treb coming right at your unit or right beside your ear in game. Sometimes thinks you're gonna get hit, but yeah, they're Love and Devotion. Definitely going to weigh it out here and try and deal as much damage, just like ZOO did to them in their attack phase. Whittle them down, damage as much as possible. See what they
I
can
think
do.
so
The
far
breach
though,
is still up,
ZOO's
though.
done a little bit better with damage mitigation. They've got like smaller groups of units, like not so much stacked on top of each other. There's only like one slot between the archway and the breach where there's 3 units on top of each other. Otherwise, everything else is a lot more spread out.
I think
So
the targeting
artillery
as well,
can't do
Love
the
and
damage.
Devotion have been a bit terrible as well. Like there's some that are literally nowhere near anything. Like they're hitting the ground completely, where not even a unit was set, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're just missing the units playing out sometimes. And
I
that's
think
where you
they're
need to
missing
target
like
that better.
units on the battlements as well. Like Radiance from ZOO, when they were attacking, had his javelin sergeants up there. There was constantly like Zakali militia running around and getting some
Yeah, and
grenades off every
javelin
now and then.
sergeants and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that on the attack side here at the moment. Most of it is all shield walls and shield wall. There is a unit of Zycilian from Love and Devotion out. I don't know where
It's
it
down
is
at the
set.
supply. It's down at the seaside supply. Just sat out
Is
the
it
way.
down there? Oh yeah, so it's out the way.
And there's one up on the battlements above C as well from Alcantro.
Yeah, I can see it inside the little-
Alcantro. Words are hard.
They can be at times. Believe me, I'm Scottish. I know it. But they've not managed to take the breach down yet. I don't know if Love and Devotion are waiting it out.
Maybe they don't want to. I've seen a strat the other day when we was when I last commentated a match on this, or one of the last matches, and they left the breach up on purpose so that if you notice they've got no cavalry, and they'll get up onto the walls at the last second and push along the breach to the right. And when you're at the top of that, if you like, balcony area or like the flat point between the stairs, and you can block the stairs and then just push with everything up onto the point. And there's only 2 units or 3 units up there, so it's like an easy
because you
push.
don't need the supply point in theory.
Nah, not at the beginning, because if
For
you
the
get on the base
push.
point and you can maybe even, because there's nothing there, they can maybe even rotate quick enough and close the gate. So
If you zoom
the
out
defenders.
a little bit in the chat, sorry, if you zoom out a bit there, you can see all these heroes obviously are going up to that right wall just now because one of the heroes jumped out. But in that little embattlement there, you've got some units in there. But over to the far right of the screen, inside the actual main bit, they have still got units up there and set up on the wall. So even if they were to kind of go along the battlefront bit there, they would kind of have to push down from that stairwell and up from the other stairwell and finish them. But they would be in a trebable zone, I guess. At that
and
point, and that's
the
probably
group
what
at the
Love and
top of the
Devotion are
stairs is
trying to do.
only 2 units, like Shield Maidens and IPGs, and obviously you got the Zakalian, but they would not last for long if like 6 units went against them.
Yeah, definitely not. It's all about that time and when they decide to pull the maneuver. They've still got 12.5 minutes here to kind of make their move and use that artillery still. But if you look at it unit-wise, still relatively the same. 1,300
really do
each.
much with their
There's
artillery.
not really
did they?
been a same damage amount of numbers, but
Now
it is a
they've got the breach down
longsword
then, so they
constantly healing. So there's like 4 longswords on the defense side. So that's maybe why the damage mitigation is a lot better.
So my theory is completely out the window because the breach is gone. But that's made ZOO stack up though. So if Love and Devotion had a few more mortars down, and like they can aim now at the big blobs and do more damage. There are a few longswords from the defenders though. I can at least see 3 down
4,
the main blob.
There's
So they
4
can
down
keep
there,
stacking up
completely.
their heals. I think the other one's on the other flank in the longsword.
Yeah, no, there's
they're all
definitely
down
4
there.
down there.
They're all down there,
there's
yeah.
4 of them all down there.
But maybe one was on like the eastern flank at the top of the stairs, but I can't
I think
see
one
it.
keeps moving between the breach and that, but there is definitely 4 of the longswords just constantly healing and keeping the units. Not to mention ISGs might have their own heal as well. They've all got their own built-in heal, so they're going to take less damage constantly. Every now and then they can just pop their ability and save themselves from dying, which is always a bonus.
On the main
what's
ZOO
the
blob,
other
there's
unit
no
that has it?
Zakalian either. There's only
Yeah.
Zakalian at the top of the stairs.
There you go. There's one
Ooh,
hero down
Kretsch
from
got
Love and
caught out
Devotion. He
there.
got caught out. Yeah.
Did he fall off
Couple
the
heroes.
wall or something?
I don't know.
And then got pinned
I
by
just
the
seen him
chain dart, I
falling
think.
at that point in time there and getting caught out. They're starting to Love and Devotion are definitely starting to make moves with the units. The units are going from different places and moving around the map inside the sea point, looking towards the breachway, setting up in that little hole as they move through the gate, using that as like a bait and switch back and forward. But it's just 2 units of ISGs really, and the other units are going around the back of the wall. Plenty of cav has been pulled out
Rummel
from-
as well from ZOO up on that tower is constantly firing with that longbow. And he's like, at the minute, he's clinging tercios constantly, and those tercios eventually are going to go down if he's able to just shoot them like that.
Can we look around the front from the front battle, the battle where the Love and Devotion guys are set up, just behind your screen here? We've got you can
cavalry.
see there's like 3 units of cavalry. Yeah, if you can look back at the very entrance to this, they're all starting to stack up a little bit here there. So I don't know what their plan is here with that much cavalry at this point in time in the map, and they've not broken through at any point. But it looks like, as you see, all the right hand side push is starting to come in. You've got the ISGs, Murmalones, and IPGs all set up there with halberdiers, and even the Zakalian militia are coming up behind to try and get a wee murder box. Like what do we always call them? Death boxes. There we go. We got a wee lot of death boxes
set up,
trying
yeah.
to be set up. Yeah, they're trying to
here
kind
they
of set
go.
that up as they push
Love and
themselves
Devotion
in.
doing a split push as well by the looks of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
they've
is.
gone through the breach and the gate. The gate's where all the cavalry is going to come, like the
Can
archway
we
towards
zoom
sea.
out to both views so we can see above from both ways here? We've got two attacks coming from breach and from the front.
Breach
gate.
fight looks like it's been lost by Love and Devotion, but it looks like they might win the archway fight. But those Silidars are tanking
The
that.
archways, yeah, that archway seems to be pushing back the Love and Devotion guys. Unit-wise, Love and Devotion are losing a lot.
I think they've just lost that push. They've basically been pushed back.
Yeah,
on
they
both
pushed
fronts.
everybody back. Love and Devotion just lost a ton of units there. They're 300 units down.
They've lost 6
to the
heroes in that
defenders
fight
already,
as well.
and 6 heroes. Yeah, it's quite a bad wee push there. Split pushes can work, but when they're very tight chokeholds like that, and especially with the ZOO set up, they've got only need a couple of units to defend the gateway, but the breach has already got a pinch set up ready to move when they need to. So you're already getting hit from both directions when you come in the breach, and then there's only one way in at the gateway. But Love and Devotion is going to have to reset back up here again. And
ZOO
sort it
basically
out.
lost nothing on that fight. They maybe lost 20 units maximum. Like it was negligible,
was
the losses they
nothing
took
really.
on that.
Zeus
It's almost like Love and
managed to get
Devotion
themselves
didn't
set up
commit
already.
almost as well.
They've got the same again though, around the front there as well. Love and Devotion with plenty of cav out again. Like, that's fine for the home point, but I don't know if it's going to be used or even pointless at this point using them. Surely they have other units that they could potentially use instead of the cavalry. But I don't know if Kretsch has only got 2 units of cav. You've got a couple of heroes there with. Yeah, that's
With the amount of
that's the
Modal
only
and
good
Halberdier
unit left.
sergeants on the field as well, they're going to struggle getting past that with just pure cav. Obviously, the
definitely.
shields on there and Silidars and stuff to just. And then they've got Zicalians that can throw from the top as well.
I think we said it
things.
before as well, before we match. It's not really much of a cavalry match. You can use a couple of them, but I think they've maybe overdone it with the amount of cavalry. Maybe they've not thought about it when their unit setups, but I don't think they've.
Or they expected to get
planned
past
it as
this
well.
point easier and have so much cavalry for the end point, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. They've still got plenty of trebs though. They've still got 8. There's one going off just now on the supply point here in the back there, which manages to take out a couple of the units of the claymores. But overall, not really very much made a difference in terms of that. But they're just not dealing enough damage. They've still got 11 pieces of artillery as well, and that artillery phase that they did do didn't really affect.
Didn't really do much, did it? Like,
Yeah.
nah, they lost barely any units to that artillery phase.
Nice,
And even though they've still got 11 artillery,
there.
down what? 250 units ish? It looks like they're going to do full push archway.
That's a very brave, bold move. If it was archway,
But Zoo's
archway
basically
is a tough one to go
rotated
through.
everything there already anyway. Honor the baiting.
Yeah, bait, and then they're
But
switching
the
back. to
rotation
breachway
for the
here.
defenders is so small.
It's so quick, yeah. It's so easy, and even then, they don't even need to fully rotate because it's only a tight space they can get into. They just need to fold into them because the guys on the stairwell fold back down, and then before they know it, Love and Devotion are stuck in a chokehold.
Yeah.
And there goes plenty of cav. All the cav goes in now. This looks like
And
this
just
is
gets
gonna
instantly
wipe
stopped
a
and
lot
killed
of
looking at it.
units down to 900 now on the attack side, and it just goes down quicker and quicker and quicker here.
And the tertios up on the wall, like on the side of the breach, don't really seem to be doing that much damage. Although this time, Zoo have actually lost more units. We've got cavalry
there's a couple
from
hundred
Love and
units
Devotion on the
moved
back
there from
supply,
there.
though, stopping reinforcements. This could mean that
If
Love
we
and
get a
Devotion with the
treb on that
respawners
supply
might be able to
point,
get through.
Would be nice. But I
That would
think
be a
they,
huge
they've
treb if
wiped
they
the
could get
units
one
of
off.
cav already, and now that means Zoo can start to defend the rest of the units that are there.
That's starting to
was a
do work on the
big
breach,
push.
though. That cav went straight through there. Still got heroes up on the supply as well, stopping the defenders getting new units out. So Love and Devotion with respawners might be able to grind this out, but they are down 200,
Down
nearly
to 2 more
300
heroes
units.
as well, just now at this point. They're down 2 heroes compared to what Zoo have here in the defense. The Maul was in the background there on the supply.
Zoo's basically reset up as well. The Love and Devotion, Zicalian is still doing a bit of work, but they're not really doing enough.
I think Love and Devotion at this point, if you look at that breach now, they'd have to move really quickly and go straight up the right hand side towards the
Now they're
the home
going.
point.
Now that's what
Go
exactly
right up
what they're
towards
doing.
home point. That's what I would do. Yeah, they have to do that. There's no other way at this point because
They were
there's no
reacting
units
quickly though. Half of them are following him, and
Starting
half
to
of them going
move,
straight up
yeah.
onto base point. So that's really really quick reaction from Zoo to get up there.
If we
With
can zoom out a little bit, because you can see all the cav coming in from the left side. There we go. That's perfect. You can see the cav that came in from the Zoo there, managing to make their way in to help in that defensive home. This might be the thing that gives them the option to push some units in and start to get themselves set for the home point push now.
I think Love and Devotion are going to get wiped here though. They're too spread out, and like on all fronts,
Yeah, all the heroes are
Zoo
starting to
have got
wipe.
the advantage, like unit
I've
and
got
hero
themselves
advantage.
in though. At least they're in the main point area now.
They are getting
But
the
if
supply
Zoo pushed
behind
down
C
that
as
wall-
well. Yeah, the fight's moved outside the base point now, so
Go
it's
back
still
to
down at the
breach
breach at C.
If we go back down to breach there, you can see where the pushes came back out from. Just over
Like towards
to
the
our
left
of
more.
the screen.
There you go. There's the fight at the left-hand side of the screen, where the 3 blue muskets are. There you go. So the defenders there are actually still fighting and pushing out.
Only
kind of.
6 heroes left. Make that 7 now because one just respawned. But there are
And
starting
do
to
a
get wiped.
counter-attacking look. I thought they would maybe set up for base point now,
There's
but
a
they're
3 unit
refusing.
of halberdiers that they were to wipe out as well here, and then there are 7
And
heroes
Love and
on the
Devotion
attacking
have got
side on the last.
Yeah. 8
last
even,
wave.
just popped up.
8 now, yeah.
And because they're spawning in so slow, they're just overwhelmed and outnumbered, and they're struggling to get through.
I think Zoo's going to win this one. The way the things keep going this way, it doesn't look like
400
they have
units
the
difference.
advantage whatsoever.
There's only 3 minutes. It looks like they've pulled back now.
Modal's moving in here, but you also got farmers. So you see a unit of Modal's there, and then you've got a unit of farmers coming in behind it. That's how low some of these heroes are, and units wise.
And ZOO have basically pulled back to base point now, so they went out, did even more damage. Didn't really take that much damage when they counter-attacked there. I think they maybe lost 50 units. But if you look at the unit difference, we've got 550 to 850.
Close the gate as well, so that means that's a longer wait till they get that gate down, and that's 2.5 minutes left before they can do anything really. They have to go all the way around the far side.
At least the attackers have still got 10 artillery, but I can't help but feel like they should have maybe been using that earlier, so that they could weaken the defenders a bit more. Because basically now to get this endpoint, they're going to have to use all of their trebs, place all of their grape shots, and just leapfrog with their grape shots and do absolute work.
2 minutes. We're into the red now, and they're all starting to make their way up the stairwell onto the right-hand side here of your screen.
There's a treb. That's a good treb as well.
Here comes the treb. Yeah, that treb might do some good damage here, but they will probably.
There's a lot of blue units there. Oh, that was unlucky with the thing. It actually dropped really low and hit their own units, and most of just hit the tower of their own units. That is unlucky.
1 minute and 30 seconds left, and to be honest, there isn't really much they can do at this point. They're not going to manage to push into this. You can see the fight coming in.
And the counter-attack from ZOO is just stronger, look.
That Cav just overwhelmed the defensive side there.
Monastics there did really well.
The heroes go down in a matter of seconds, and now they just push out on top of them. It's only a unit of archers outside there. They get ran over by the cavalry further down.
There's a Modal and a halberdier sergeant, at least like a part of one, but they're gone. They're not long for this world. Love and Devotion just lost a number of players as well. I think
have 3 players left just now, and 8 of them are dead.
They're fleeing for their lives, and Nami the longbow's running for the battlements. Stretch the musket's running back into the enemy on his own.
He's going to cap it all himself. He's going to make sure he does the job. But yeah, plenty of unit difference as well there. You can see there's almost like 500 units, just under that.
Yeah,
400
that was a really
left.
strong performance from ZOO.
Even unit-wise, it's still got the tier 5, tier 4 units available. Yeah, there's plenty of tier 1 units, but the attack side have nothing. They literally can't push with 2-star units. Like, it literally is not going to do any damage to any of the units that are available left on the defensive side of ZOO. Halberdiers that are sitting on the point, well, longsword would just stay there the whole time and be able to probably defend all of the units that are left at this rate. But well done to ZOO. Great attack.
Very well done.
Great defense as well there.
Yeah, that was very well. Matcap as well. MVP for ZOO again. So GG Matcap.
I should keep my mouth shut next time.
Yeah,
it didn't end up well for Kebab and Love and Devotion. I'm sorry for that.
It's like me when I pick my horses when it's a race day. I just go by the name and I'm like, I recognize that. I'll do that. No, don't work.
The transition between C to base points is extremely difficult to handle for attackers, obviously.
Yeah.
So ZOO, when they were attacking, found the opening, so they had a good opportunity. They managed to exploit it correctly. But Love and Devotion didn't find the opening. They never had really the opportunity to break through. So they just lost because of the time and like casualties over time, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the artillery phase that Love and Devotion had didn't have the same effect as ZOO's attack did. It didn't whittle it down. They even left that breach there open. Well, pretty much 100% pretty much for most of the battle, and then eventually they started taking it down, and it took its time. But I thought they were going to use that for a reason, and they kept it up for a reason. But I felt that actually
I thought they were going to do that as well, and then they didn't.
Yeah. And then when they take it down, it's like, so what you're doing now? Yeah. But yeah, if you look at the post stats analysis just now, you can see where it comes to the main fight.
That first fight, though,
of red there in that first fight.
Yeah. They got absolutely trolloped. And then the second fight was actually very even. That's when they broke through. into the area behind the C point, and then the ZOO were just able to reconsolidate. They even countered the push, the cheeky push up on the base point, turned back around. I thought they would actually maybe stay up on base point and wait, and they just took the initiative back from Love and Devotion and just counterattacked them. Barely lost any units with a counterattack as well, and then pulled back once they'd done even more damage. So very well done, like very well timed as well. The counter pushes.
Yeah, Suplex, if you use that little diamond just above below the map and scroll that over to that first peak, whoever's in control of that there, if you move that just to that first peak, yeah, there we go. And you can see on the map there, it's slightly small, but you'll see all the red marks there. That's just all the people that are dying, all Uniwise that are dying so quickly because of the chokehold push, where they're all trying to go in. Obviously, it was split push. So because it's a split push, Love and Devotion have only got a certain amount of heroes that can do that. There's like the small gateway from ZOO. They only needed a couple of heroes and like 2 or 3 units there to defend like the push that was going in there. Even if there's 6 heroes there, the amount of units in the small tight space that they're trying to get through, they can't deal the damage because half of their unit isn't even through the gateway yet. Whereas the defense have all their unit there and all the damage numbers going through. So much more units are getting damaged and killed as they just come in one by one or like two at a time, like the row that they're in. And obviously the split push was a good idea for the most part. It tends to split your defense. However, the position
the defense is so close together.
ZOO's defense, it's so close they can just move and rotate beside it where they need it. And obviously you've got that stairwell where they pinched them as they came in and gave them a wee bit more room. The guys can then just pinch them from behind. I think that's the biggest part of the difference in that map where the death count was. The rest of it was pretty even every other battle, bar the very end push when they can push out, and the unit difference was like totally different because it was like 1-star, 2-star units versus 4-star units. So you're going to see a massive difference in numbers. But that first push was where it was kind of all boiled down to because they're good units. Were pretty much wasted and done then, and they were really left with Cav for the rest of it, and only so much Cav can do trying to go into a breach when there's nowhere to maneuver to.
Especially with that much anti-cavalry as well. There was a lot of anti-cavalry there.
Modal, everything,
The hero fight as well was massively in ZOO's favour. They killed 38 Love and Devotion, and Love and Devotion only managed to kill 10. And you can see that on the statistics. If you look now, like if you look on the Love and Devotion side, like a lot of their players have got 0 hero kills, and the assists aren't very high. Whereas you look at the defenders, there's like a guy is that Radiance with 13 assists, and then you got a couple of guys even on 6 heroes killed. So that was a huge difference as well for ZOO.
Yeah, definitely makes a difference. Some of these big number players as well with the 6 hero kills. You've got my share. You've got Hyper with 6 hero kills as well. On the ZOO side, just doing work, and they didn't even die. Like they died once each. They were just able to stay in the battle for the most part, dealing damage using their musket bombs. And obviously Hyper is the new class, the Scimitar and Dart. Like the CC on that is unreal, and if you can catch out heroes, you're going to kill heroes very, very quickly with that. And that's clearly what he did in that little battle there. But yeah, it definitely came down to that first push, where it didn't work as well as ZOO's push did in their first attack.
I don't know if you noticed, but at some point, 2 defenders with Chain Dart and Scimitar have managed to get above the breach by using their chain to assassinate one of the attacker. I don't know if you noticed, it was a small part of the battle, but it was really a very elegant move.
Was that just above here, like above that breach area here where he fell down? He grabbed him.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Very, very smart move. Overall, it looks like during this game, as well as during the first game, Love and Devotion lacks of flexibility. It looks like they have a plan. They have the good pick, good heroes, good players, good units, and they have a plan. You can feel that they've been working on tactics, but it seems that when they face difficulty or they can't apply the plan, they struggle to find a new way to win and push forward. So you could see that during the defense on the first battle, they couldn't decide on if they wanted to push back on C or if they had to withdraw to the base point. And during the attack, the first plan obviously failed and they didn't manage to find a plan B to actually push forward. So perhaps something they need to work on.
I think their unit choice was relatively decent apart from maybe a bit too much Cav spam in the first place, like when they had it all set up here. Yeah. Like there was just too much out at that point, and this is when you want an infantry push to get in first of all. Once you're in, then you could try and get a cav flank, maybe 1 or 2 coming in. But I think there's like 3 or 4 units in that green area that was just sitting waiting about for like 3 minutes, 4 minutes when nothing was actually able to do anything, because you can't get in until the units actually started moving. And that's just a wasted unit really at that point, until you're in a space and you use your infantry to get that to make that space.
I think they would have done well as well with a little bit less cavalry and like literally javelin sergeant roaming around with 2 heroes, javelin sergeants, and 1 guy with Zicalian.
Well, Love and Devotion had this point
then,
here with javelins. Didn't they? Last on their attacks, they had it there. They had one here, and then they had Zicalian over here on the wall doing that damage constantly. Whereas Love and Devotion didn't do that on their attack.
Nah, it was weird, man. Like if they'd have had like even like towards the breach here, they could have like the whole area there just like rotating, firebombing, and then javelin straight afterwards while they've got the CC effect on. That's pretty much exactly how ZOO were doing it as well, or even just using the musket bombs to break formations and then hit them with the jabs. Especially with such a long artillery phase, having units that do extra damage as well is always going to benefit you. Obviously, you need to keep rotating them so they don't get killed by enemy archers or enemy artillery or something. But it's something that they need to keep in mind for the next time.
Do you think that the real heroes of the defense have been Zicalian militia?
Yeah, they have, and I didn't really see them.
They
too
didn't
much
do
in the
that
defense.
much on the first push. They definitely did. That was when they on the big breach one, because they come from the pincer move and they got at least 1 throw in. But I think it was just the fact, because what did it? They have Modal, they had halberdier sergeants, and I think Fort Brachio and like shields stacked on top of them.
Yeah,
and they just couldn't really get through the shield.
Go that over to that first peak. Whoever's in control of that there, if we move that just to that first peak, there we go. And you can see on the map there, it's slightly small, but you'll see all the red marks there. That's just all the people that are dying, all unit-wise that are dying so quickly because of the chokehold push, where they're all trying to go in. Obviously, it was split push. So because it's a split push, Love and Devotion have only got a certain amount of heroes that can do that. There's like the small gateway from ZOO. They only needed a couple of heroes and like 2 or 3 units there to defend like the push that was going in there. Even if there's 6 heroes there, the amount of units in the small tight space that they're trying to get through, they can't deal the damage because half of their unit isn't even through the gateway yet. Whereas the defense have all their unit there and all the damage numbers going through. So much more units are getting damaged and killed as they just come in 1 by 1 or like 2 at a time, like the row that they're in. And obviously the split push is a good idea for the most part. It tends to split your defense. However, the position
the defense is so close together.
ZOO's defense, it's so close they can just move and rotate beside it where they need it. And obviously you've got that stairwell where they pinched them as they came in and gave them a wee bit more room. The guys can then just pinch them from behind. I think that's the biggest part of the difference in that map where the death count was. The rest of it was pretty even every other battle, bar the very end push when they can push out, and the unit difference was like totally different because it was like 1-star, 2-star units versus 4-star units. So you're going to see a massive difference in numbers. But that first push was where it was kind of all boiled down to, because they're good units. Were pretty much wasted and done then, and they were really left with cav for the rest of it, and only so much cav can do trying to go into a breach when there's nowhere to maneuver to.
Especially with that much anti-cavalry as well. There was a lot of anti-cavalry there.
Modal, everything,
The hero fight as well was massively in ZOO's favour. They killed 38 of Love and Devotion, and Love and Devotion only managed to kill 10. And you can see that on the statistics